Good morning. I don't have any participants this morning, but I'm going to go ahead and record this anyway for the future. So what we are talking about today is the finding the information that you need to for a new listing. Where do you go to get that information? So what I'm going to show you initially is the first page of the listing agreement. And I'm going to share the screen real quick so you can see what that looks like. This is the first page of the new listing agreement that just went into effect on May the 1st. The first page really hasn't changed. There are some changes further on in the document which have been explained elsewhere. So essentially on this first page, we have at the very top, of course, who is a party to this agreement. So that would be your seller, and then, of course, the firm, which is Keller Williams. And then down towards the bottom, under number 2, we have lots of blanks there that have to be filled in, and that is the property information. So you need the street address, of course, the county, the zip code, and then we look to the legal description. We need a lot number, hopefully, whether or not it's in a subdivision, plat book and slide, the parcel identification number, and any other description that you might find in the tax records, and also, very importantly, the deed book and page. Why is this information important? It's because you need to clearly and accurately identify the property that you're going to be selling for this owner. And that information is crucial to making sure that you have identified the property correctly. There have been instances where this was not done right, and then once this information is transferred to an offer to purchase, sometimes it can create a problem where the offer to purchase is inaccurate. There's been a case where a buyer actually ended up getting 20 acres of land when they really were only supposed to be getting 4. So that's a pretty good example of why you need this information to be accurate on this page to start off with. So where do you find this information? Well, the next thing I'm going to show you, and I'm going to stop sharing this document right now, and I'm going to go to the for today's purposes, I'm going to go to the Alamance NC tax website. That's alamance-nc.com. And hopefully I will be able to share this screen with you. Bear with me a second. I switch around here. And for some reason, it's not letting me do that. Okay, well, I apologize for that, but I'm going to go back to that website and then just walk you through the steps. So again, we're going to the alamance-nc.com website, and that is a wonderful website with lots of great information about all the properties in the county. There are 7 tabs across the top of their start page. You want to go to e-services, and under e-services, there's several tabs under that, and the drop down, you can go to real estate tax system. And then that's going to give you the opportunity to search for a particular property. So I'm going to use an example today of 402 Holt Avenue. So you can search by address, you can search by owner name, you can search by parcel identification number. There's several choices here. I usually search by address. So I've typed in the address, I hit search at the bottom of the screen, and then it brings up the single line listing for that particular property. and then it opens up what's known as the tax card. And on the tax card, you'll find also several tabs across the top for account, which is the main page, buildings, land, sketch, deeds, sales, tax bill, and map. And a lot of this information you will be saving as PDFs to upload into your listing file for command, because those are required documents. We'll talk about that a little bit later. So on this tax card, and referring back to the first page of that listing agreement, there are items on there that you need to determine what needs to be put in those blanks. The first one is the lot number. And if you look on the administrative data for this particular listing, you will find in the legal description, it says Park Heights Subdivision Block B, lots 31 through 34. So there are your lot numbers there. And then the next item on that listing agreement is the plat book and page, or the plat book and page and the deed book and page, as well as whether or not it's in a subdivision, and also the parcel ID number. So it does say in the legal description, Park Heights Subdivision Block B. So there's your clue right there. It is not your traditional type of subdivision like you would see at Lake McIntosh, but you still should indicate the name of the subdivision there. Then the parcel ID number is over also under administrative data on the left-hand side of the page, and it is also known as the GPIN, and it is a 10-digit number. So you can copy and paste that into your listing agreement if you're doing it online. Otherwise, you'd have to write it in or type it in. And then the deed book and page and the plat book and page are clearly marked in the middle section of the administrative data. And you just copy those numbers and put them in the appropriate spaces on the listing agreement. Let me just move back to the listing agreement real quick. Oh, sorry, now I can share this. Interesting. Okay, so I'm gonna just share this tax card with you. For some reason before it wasn't letting me do it. So let me just review what I just said. So across the top, you've got all of these tabs that are all clickable links. And then in this section here of administrative data, you have the GPIN number, which is this 10-digit number here. And then in the middle section, you have the legal description, which you can copy into the legal description or other description part of the listing agreement. And then you have your deed book and page here and your plat book and page here. So all the information you need is right there on the tax card. Let me just switch back to the listing agreement, which is right here. And you see all of those blanks there. You can get all that information that you need from that tax card to fill in right there. So pretty easy to do, not difficult at all. So I'm going to just switch back to the tax card again and just show you a couple of things about what you can click on here in the on these tabs. So buildings, for instance. This will show you the date the house was built, that it's a ranch home, the average quality of the construction, the square footage that the tax records have, and that it's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. In addition, you can click on the land tab, and that will show you the tax value of the lot itself. It does not show you the size. That's something you'll have to get either from a survey, or sometimes it is mentioned on the GIS plat, which we'll get to in a minute. On the sketch, This gives you a nice little drawing. Just a word of warning, you cannot use this verbatim from this site. You can use it as a guide to take with you to the property to measure it. Or if you are going to contract that out to an appraiser to measure for you, then he'll give you your own drawing once he's done his work or her work. Next thing over here are the deeds, which is a required document you need to have in your, and this does sometimes happen, which is annoying. Let me just go back, click out of that. That's a flaw in the system. So let's go back to, well, I'll get back to the deeds in a minute. Let me just finish this part. So the next tab is just some recent sales, which is not really the greatest place to obtain your comparables from because you see they're quite old from 2017. Here you can look at the tax bill and you can see if there's any taxes in arrears. In this case, they were all up to date, so that's great. And then the, so let's click out of that. And then the, whoops, sorry, I think I went a little bit too far. Yep, I did. Apologize for that. Let me get that, see if I can get that website back. Just bear with me a second. And I'll walk you through how we get to that tax card again. Okay, so here is the start page for Alamance County. We go under e-services and the drop down to real estate tax system. And then here is where you can search by address, owner name, parcel ID number. You have a variety of choices there. Just hit search. And that opens up the single line listing, and then you click on the name and it opens up the tax card, and there we are again. So we were looking at the tax bill last, and then you can also click on the GIS map. And this will take you into that screen. Just takes a few minutes to load, and you have to accept their disclaimer. And this shows you the GIS map. So here is your plat that is also a required document for your listing documents. And then this over here on the left-hand side just shows you duplicate of information that is on the tax card. And in order to save this as a PDF, there is a icon over here that you can choose to print, and then it will, let me just move this out of the way, this print icon right here, and then you can save it as a PDF. And then you have your GIS plat, which is great. Now, of course, this is not 100% accurate. It's always a good idea to ask the homeowner if they happen to have a survey that is what, you know, is the true picture of the size of the lot. So we have that. Let me go back to the tax card. So we have all those links across the top. We talked about where to find the information that you need to put on the listing agreement. Park Heights subdivision, lots 31 through 34. There's your deed book and page and your plat book and page. Let's see, let's click on the plat book and page and see what that brings up for us. Sometimes the link works, sometimes it doesn't. Okay. So that's what this looks like. This is a really old plat, probably dated, and you see the Park Heights, which is the name of the subdivision. I don't see a date, but I would say this is probably from back when the houses were built in the, oh, here it is, 1938, 5th day of April, 1938. Interesting. So just looking at this just to see if I can tell. Okay, so here is where the Holt Avenue is the street that we're, and then it shows lots 31 through 34. So these were really tiny lots that must have been combined to make one building lot. You can see where my cursor is pointing right here. So that's a great thing to have on hand to share with potential buyers. And you can just hit the print icon here, save as a PDF, to your documents on your computer, and then you have it for your listing file. We'll just title that 402 Holt. If I could type, that would help. Holt Avenue plat. All righty. All right, so I'm gonna, we've talked about the tax card and everything that's available on there, so I'm gonna stop sharing that, and I'm just gonna go to the next document that we use, which is the listing checklist. This is helpful so that you can keep track of the documents that you are going to need, that are going to be required in your command file. Let me share that real quick. So this is a helpful checklist. You can see the different things that are necessary here. Of course, the property address and who the listing agent is. The agency documents that you need, the listing agreement and the working with real estate agents. Then the next group of items will be your property disclosures and your MLS, copies of your MLS sheets once it's active. And then your secondary file will include things like the deed, the tax card, the square foot measurements, and then perhaps, you know, well and septic if that's applicable, the plat, which we just talked about, and any of these other documents that could be conditionally required. So that's a helpful guide that you can use perhaps in your paper file, or you can save it to your hard drive and use it that way as well. Okay. All right. So the next thing I'm going to talk about really quick here, if I can get it to come up. Let's see here. And, okay, so this is our Alamance MLS. And you can start putting in your information under the Add Edit tab. So I'm going to just walk through this as if I'm doing this listing. So you, in the drop down, you can search for yourself. Oh, wait a minute. I don't need to do that because I'm adding new. And this is a residential property. And you can search for the realist tax information that can help with, you know, to save some time with the inputting of the tax details. So you put in the address, it's in Alamance County, owner's last name, hit search, and hopefully it will come up. Matrix is a little slow this morning. Well, that came up with a lot more than I was expecting, but all right, let me go back, because that's too many to look through. Let me take out the last name. Could be the problem. Alamance. Oh, well, that's interesting. All right, I'm going to try. Just putting in Holt. Sometimes it's better to search for, no, still not working. Well, sorry about that. Anyway, so let's go start with a blank property. Your first choice here is to choose that it's either going to be active or coming soon. I'm going to use active. Location is pretty obvious. And this is where the using that tool that I just tried to use, whoops, would help with inputting a lot of this information. All the information that you see that is blocked in this gold color is required. So it will not let you save it without doing that. So we're going to put in, for right now, we're going to put in just the street number, street name, street type, which is avenue, city, you search, which I happen to know is Graham. And of course, you would find that out from looking up the tax card. Okay, press OK, and then you see it populates in there. Zip code 27253. Map grid. Let's see. I'm not sure about that for right now, but that might populate with the GPIN number. So we need to go back to the tax card for that. I'm going to look that up real quick. Bear with me a second while I look that up. All right, so I've got the tax card open again. Sorry, my dog has decided to bark. So you can copy and paste that from the tax card and put it in here under GPIN number right there. And of course, this information will come later, list date, expiration date, once you have your listing agreement signed and all of that. Let's go down here to area, which would be, that's interesting. Let me just hover over this question. Okay, so the map grid number is the, sorry, I had forgotten about this. The map grid number is the first 4 digits of the GPIN. So that would be this right here, 8884. So you go to the available choices and type in your numbers, 8884, and there it is. And then you can click OK, and it'll go in that required box there. And then area is Graham. Subdivision, let's see if that old subdivision is in the list here. It may or may not be. Park, I think it was, let me go back to the tax card real quick. Park Heights. And it's not, and I didn't think it would be. So probably would have to contact Alamance MLS to find out if that can be added or if it needs to be added, since it's a really old subdivision. So we'll have to leave that blank for now, and more information will have to come from that. And then we go here to property subtype, which we know is single family. We also know it's a ranch or a 1-story. And then we come over here to the map area, map property from address. You click on this link here. And you see that it automatically populates the latitude and the longitude. And you'll just kind of want to look at the map there and make sure that they've got it in the right place, which they do. So that takes care of that. And that's where I'm going to end today. Let me just get back to the screen and stop the share there. So that's where I'm going to end today about finding the information you need to put into your listing agreement. And stay tuned for more information on future videos. Hope you have a wonderful day. Take care.